Welcome to the Deerwood Realty Show. I'm John Schink, founder and managing broker of Deerwood Realty in St. Louis, Missouri. Well, I had a very interesting article that I saw today, and I wanted to go over with you. It's written by the head of NAR's economics. He's the head economist for NAR, National Association of Realtors, Lawrence Yun. As long as I've been in real estate, Lawrence Yun has been happy about how the things are going, like in the market. Doesn't matter if the house prices are going down, doesn't matter if prices are going up, he's always happy. And I think that's maybe an admirable quality, but also kind of an odd quality. You'd think at one point in time during his career, it'd be just like, look at this is just terrible. Everything is awful. But it doesn't ever go that way, and it's always kind of sus, as the kids would say. Let's get in the article, and we'll just go to it. It says, things are looking up. Now, this would presuppose that things had been looking down, which for him, I don't know that ever happens. So it was even the title got me. It says, with prices and rates stabilizing, home sales will continue the upward trajectory that started the final months of 2024. Now, look, he's in an unenviable position, in my opinion, because if house prices go down, sellers are sad. If house prices go up, sellers are happy, but buyers are sad. So there's always two sides to a deal. And if you've been a buyer over the last 4 years, you're probably miserable. You're probably miserable because you were trying to get a house and you had to pay stupid amounts for it. Now, things are changing all across the United States. I mean, it's very, very fascinating in the sense that you have some places doing very, very well, and then you have other places that are not doing so well. And so depending on where you are, it really, real estate is local, right? And so he says this past year was another terrific one for homeowners. Their overall net housing equity swelled to $35 trillion in 2024. Nearly a third of that growth came in the past 4 years. Now, is that sustainable? Just ask yourself, is that sustainable? A third of the growth came in the last 4 years of equity for your home. I mean, now there's going to be arguments that, we need more supply and all this. But just think about it. What goes up forever and doesn't come down? Well, I guess the housing bulls would say housing, right? And they say, well, historically, if you just bought a house and stayed in it, it'd be fine. But I don't know. Something doesn't seem right. And it goes to say, that said, it's been a difficult couple of years for real estate brokers and agents, mortgage lenders, title insurers, moving truck companies, and others whose business depend on real estate sales. In the years 2023 and 2024 marked the slowest home sales in nearly 30 years, and housing affordability hit historic lows. So maybe you might be wondering, John, like I used to see you all the time, and you were saying things suck. You go out there and write multiple offers every weekend and never get a house, and then you do get a house, and then you still got all these other buyers. Where have you been the past, year or so? Well, I've been like not working. It's bad. Not a lot of transactions, not a lot of stuff to talk about. We're doing other things. So, but again, I talked to one of the better agents in St. Louis, and I was like, how are you doing? And they sold more houses last year than they sold the year before. Now, their budget alone for advertising is more than, it's unbelievable, and I don't know that I'd ever want to be in that situation. But for some, they've done well, even in the worst of markets. So it's all in how you look at it. It says, all is expected to change for the better this year. Now, just on a side note, like last year he said things were good, and the year before that he said things were good, and the year before that he said things were good. So, but it says, the momentum of higher home sales was already noted in the final months of 2024. So we're going to guess that he's talking about higher home sales is the number of transactions versus higher prices. We're going to hope for that. A steady boost in inventory starting in the summer months has brought more options and excitement for those looking to buy. Incomes have been rising a shade above home price appreciation. Well, but have they for the last 4 years? And who's got these jobs? And you could just go on and on and on about, picking this apart. But let's try to stay kind of above board here and say, a steady boost in inventory starting in the summer months has brought more options and excitement to those looking to buy. So I can say that when I work with buyers, we go to houses that need a lot of maintenance. It's normally an estate and it's dated, and yet people want a premium for it. Sellers want a premium for that house, and they were getting it. Would they get it now if it's a nice house? Yes. Okay, if it's a nice house, but we're not talking about those types of houses. We're talking about houses that are from estates, and so those I don't think are doing as well as they have been in the past here right now. Would I take a listing and market it where I thought it would sell? Yes. I wouldn't cut that much, but at the same time, you have to know exactly what you have. It says, but one can be confident that over the next 4 years, existing home sales will easily reach 20 million, along with a solid 3.5 million new home sales. And so he was comparing during Donald Trump's term of 21.8 million existing homes and 2.7 million newly constructed homes were sold. And during Biden, it was 19.3 and 2.8 million. So, but I mean, like, if it reaches 20 million for the next 4 years, it's really not that much more than the 19.3 million under Biden. It says, why? Why are we supposed to be happy? It says the high mortgage rates of 7 and 8% are over. The Fed will make further rate cut decisions in 2025 to move toward non-restrictive monetary policy. That's because the overall consumer price inflation, which the Fed constantly mentions as its top goal, will be contained. Now, look, I've argued for a long time that even if you got rates to be like in the fives, you've still got this problem of house prices have appreciated, according to you, what, 30%? 35% in the past 3 years? They were already ridiculous before that. As far as compared with wages, I don't see if you're a buyer a great situation. It says one thing that has held back the Fed is rent inflation, and this is where it's tough. It says, but that arena, government data still lags the real world. The number of newly completed apartment units that reached the market in 2024 was 560,000, the highest since the early 1980s. Now look, there's these economic ideas. There's substitution, which is like if steak gets too expensive, people buy chicken. Okay. Yes, it's a concept. I've always been a little bit hazy on if people can't buy a house, they're going to live in an apartment, and like somehow that's going to be cheaper. Because what we saw during whatever you want to call it, the Great Flu, your rent prices were getting higher than, they were just getting ridiculous. They're to the point where you can't save money to go buy a home afterwards. You're spending all of your money on shelter. It's not a good situation. It says the official and somewhat fuzzy public data on rent in the Consumer Price Index shows a 5% rise. It's just a matter of time for the official figures to reset lower. The Federal Reserve can declare victory in having brought the inflation rate to its desired goal in 2025 and thereby permit more cutting of the short-term bank borrowing rate. I don't know. When was this article written? Because things came in hot. This is February 18th. It's the 21st. I don't know. There's nothing wrong with having a theory and giving your points of, this is why I think this will happen. But it doesn't mean it's going to be right. And I think we've kind of gotten into that place where, the experts are very, very good at just putting forth something that sounds plausible. And it may happen, it may not. On this one, I see that the prices are the problem. But anyway, let's continue. It says the new normal rates for mortgage rates will be between 6 and 7%, which I think, given that the prices are higher, here's your up. 2026, 10 to 15% year-over-year increase in existing home sales, 420,000 for the national median home sale price, up 2% year-over-year. How many people are going to be stumbling into a $420,000 home? FHA, now, like obviously if you're in California, there's nobody because there's not a $420,000 home available. FHA and VA lending programs have an explicit government guarantee. The intense bidding wars of a few years ago left FHA and VA borrowers at a distinct disadvantage. But as housing markets see more supply, we are likely to see more buyers who qualify opting to use those programs. Very interesting you say that. I don't think that they were at a disadvantage as much as people were coming with straight cash. And so even if you had a conventional mortgage, you were at a disadvantage. And you say, well, how are people getting the cash? They were usually using their family members, usually using their retirement, and usually at the last minute switching over to a mortgage, which isn't wrong or bad. It's just they guaranteed cash. You were not going to beat that with a conventional or any other type of mortgage. And other than that, they talk about commercial real estate, but that's not really what I wanted to talk about today. So anyway, what do you think? I mean, it's February. There's all kinds of, like, just for what I'm seeing and what I'm hearing is there's a shadow inventory of newly constructed homes. And you say, well, how is that possible? Well, I don't know. The idea is that even though on the, like homes that are new construction homes aren't usually on the MLS. So how do you track them? Well, until they're built, there's going to be an occupancy permit, but I don't know that they cross-reference the occupancy permit with the lots beforehand so that you would know. So there's that. What do I expect to see? As long as the prices are high and as long as we can't continue to have record employment. That's another thing. It can't continue down this path. So that's got to have some sort of impact. You're going to have lower prices at some point in time. We're seeing it in some parts of the country. A boom state like Florida, places in Austin apparently not doing as well as they used to. So I don't really know when that's going to happen in St. Louis. Maybe it already has happened in St. Louis. I don't know. I have like 3 buyers right now. I'm not doing that well. So anyway, I don't know. I've thought that this can't continue, and it just does. It just rolls. So I guess it can keep going. I don't know. Anyway, that's what I have. I mean, Lawrence Yuna's excited. He's feeling optimistic about home sales in the United States, so I guess I should be. With that, I'm going to head on out. Thank you for watching. Thank you for listening, and I'll catch you on the next one. Bye.